All right, welcome everybody. This is the December 25th, the Christmas call for the community. And we don't have regular gatherings anymore. And frankly, I scheduled this one because I want to be with you guys. This is the way I want to start my Christmas morning. It's a little bit later here in Hawaii, or later in the other states, and earlier here in Hawaii. Anyway, it's 10 a.m. here. And what a wonderful time to come together. And there's Kiko. She made it in to say hello to us.
Aloha.
You guys, Kiko is going through is it okay if I talk about you, Kiko?
Yeah, sure.
Kiko's going through the most extraordinary process of some cognitive dysfunction. And, what that means is she has to give up the part of self that is driven to be building something, to be working on what's next, because whenever she was indulging in that thinking, it was just from a place of worry, like she was missing something or not doing something. And so for the last couple of months, our conversations have been about all there is for you to do is to feel supported by life. All there is for you to do is to let the structure that's around you hold you. So her 25-year-old relative has come to live with her full time. And then I keep an eye on the structure of her life and make sure that she has daycare to go to and enough food getting into the house and, all that. But really, Tristan's there 24/7, making things work. And so Kiko either moves toward disorientation and worry and feeling like she's supposed to be creating something, or she just falls back into being supported. Because really all there is to do is to wake up each day and be
Be,
present,
just
just
be,
be, right?
just
Yeah,
be.
Yeah.
that's it, Marcia. So
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know I was.
you're good. It's a community conversation. It's good to hear your voice, Marcia. And so that's why I wanted to specifically, hop on my cell phone there and call Kiko and invite her in, because I know if she comes in and hangs with us, she'll just be, and she'll be touched by the community that we are and the love that we share. And that will be, 1 hour of her day, or however long she stays. She has something else going on, but that she's held, and that she's just supported. And of course, you can imagine, as I've gotten into the role of doing a little bit of leading and teaching around helping Kiko know what the structure of her life is, I can't help but be teaching myself. And so why would it be any different? Like how full is my trust of the Creator that I am completely supported? And why do I drive toward, I got to be getting this ready, or I got to be preparing that, or I got to be participating in this, or any of those things? None of that's true. None of that's true. I can just get up in the morning and move about my day. Now, I have a little different orientation where I'm a little bit more in my faculties for managing my computer and my phone and stuff. But so for Kiko, like, funny things happen. Like if I don't manage her bills well and I don't manage the notifications well, and a notice comes in that makes it look like, just it has to look like a bill hasn't been paid, then that's going to activate Kiko wondering about her finances and worrying and all of that, because that's going to come on her dashboard and she's going to think she's going to have to be doing something. And then that might lead to not just a conversation with me about her concerns about that, but then she might be in concern brain, and then she hops from one concern to the next, to the next, to the next. And so each time that comes up, I'm learning like where the loose ends are. I have to take her back and remind her of how supported she is. And every time I tell her how supported she is, I feel how supported I am. So I share it with you all. Kiko, thank you for allowing me to share about you. I think it's a really meaningful thing for all of us.
And for me too. Yeah, to feel supported and to feel, because I've always been a doer, taking care of everything and everybody. So this is so different and it's really wonderful. Yeah, and I have a whole community here and it's just heaven.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. So the three of us, Tristan, her caretaker, and Kiko and I went to Costco the other day. And, and when we got to Costco, right as we're in the checkout line, it became time for Kiko to go to the bathroom. So Tristan and Kiko left, and I had to do the transaction myself. And I did it with Kiko's credit card and Kiko's membership card, which in and of itself, if you know Costco, was a little bit of a challenge. Uh, but I got them to see her with their own eyes before she went away, so they knew that I wasn't trying to get away with something. Anyway, of course, her membership was out of date. And of course, she had the executive membership and not the regular one. And so, I completed. Shira is asking that everyone please mute. Shira, are you getting a lot of background noise? No. Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's a balance between community conversation and muting. So you guys just, try and be aware if you're not talking to mute, but otherwise, if you're going to be I want you throwing your voices in. So I appreciate what you're saying, Shara. It's kind of a balance. If you have a better idea, feel free to guide me. So I completed this transaction with this $135 membership, and then we sat and talked about it when Kiko and Tristan came back from the bathroom. It's like, Kiko's not going to be getting to Costco on her own anymore. I'm her Costco run. That's the way it's going to be. So having a membership is just a big expenditure. And so we decided to terminate her membership and move the whole transaction over to my membership and then pay cash and work that out. But the rub came with Kiko's not going to remember that she doesn't have a Costco membership. And so if we take the card away, the Costco card, that'll keep it out of mind until she needs a grocery. And then she'll be like, well, we'll go to Costco. And so I don't know if Tristan followed through with it, but the solution we came up with at the moment was, let's cut it in half and write a note on it that says, terminated December 2024, and put it back in her wallet. So that she can actually see, oh, I know what's up with my Costco membership. And she said, am I really that bad? And I was like, yep. Yeah, you are really that bad. So she's aware and unaware of this dance, and she's handling it like so gracefully. I mean, you can see her now. She's got a smile on her face. She's just happily going down the road and allowing herself to be supported and finding out what structures need to be in place to bring peace. I think it's amazing. I think it's amazing. And I think it's amazing that we get to share it as a community. So I don't know if anybody else wants to ask any questions or comment on that, but you're certainly welcome to. No need to say anything. Only when your hearts move. So I didn't bring an agenda to the call, but I do have a recent. You have something, Marcia?
I understand what you're going through because I'm going through that with my brother-in-law.
Oh my God.
He goes in and out, and
it's really hard.
It's very hard. And it's very hard to watch. It's also very hard to watch my sister too.
Yeah, you've been doing that for a long time. Well, I know you've been doing that for a long time, and this is pretty new for me, Marcia. And I tell you, some of the experiences from August when this really started with Kiko, so we're in month 5 of this, have been just somewhere between overwhelming and devastating for me. Like just keeping myself together, watching her go through. And one of the things that I have a hard time with is when somebody needs something from me. I have it with Kiko, and I have it with my dog Blue. Like if Blue comes and sits next to me and is poised and watching me, I'm like, what do you want? I'm like, we've done the list. Like, I don't know what you want. And the last couple of nights, Blue has come and just started panting at me at like 8 and 9 at night. And usually he goes in his room, I go in my room, like we're good. And he wants something, but I don't know what it is. And I don't have an easy time with that. So, it's happened a couple nights in a row. So what I decided to do is take the game to him now. So now I go find him and give him the longest belly rub ever, and just really hang with him and tell him how much I love him and appreciate him, and then we go into our separate rooms. So, when Kiko has a need that comes up, it's the same. It feels that urgency for me, and for her, it's just what she's stumbling on next. It's not that big a deal. Like, she constantly, when I engage with her to find out what the need really is, I realize I'm making stuff up about it, right? So I make it seem like, oh, I got to be responsive in this moment or whatever. And I try to respond in the moment because I know when she's in a flow that she's aware of that thought. And if I come back an hour or a day later, maybe the flow's there, maybe it's not. Sometimes, it's like Swiss cheese. You never know which piece you're going to get. Did you get the solid or the whole? So, Marcia, for you to be going through that for years, I mean, that's just a massive experience. And I don't know if some of that need thing is the same for you or which parts are really heavy, but I get that it's really heavy.
She just does not understand how blessed she really is. I'm not talking about me, but she is in a very good nursing home where she has two people that she can call 24/7. She's got their cells, and that is the head nurse and also her social worker. And that's not heard of in a nursing home. And they've already told her if she's not happy to call, and she won't stand up for herself. She never has. And then I have to listen to it. And it's like, I have to learn it's her journey and I can't live it for her. And that's the hardest for me because I'm a doer.
Right.
And being a caregiver is extremely hard. And I don't know how many that's on this call that are caregivers, but it's probably one of the hardest jobs there is.
I think so. I think it is. No, it really takes something to hold a space for another person to be safe and happy. And one of the things that I'm noticing is, yeah, this is my only experience with this, so I don't have another to compare to, but Kiko is just generally a happy human being. She's always been a happy human being. It's part of why we're such close friends. And, she has invested deeply in our friendship for a decade. And I would say it's equivalent. The investment that she's made in me and the return of investments that she's getting now, I mean, she was there for me for so many phone calls at 2, 3, 4 in the morning Eastern time when I would call Hawaii and be like, I can't hold my life together, and just all sorts of stuff. And she would just pick up on the first ring. I didn't learn until last year that oftentimes I was probably waking her because she just answers the phone on the first ring and sounds like Kiko. Imagine that, like the level of flow that it takes to do that is really, it's really extraordinary. So this time period has just made her more of what she is. So it's a really, really extraordinary time. And that's something else to be going through this. Wow, we are blessed by an old friend. Artemis, we're just talking about my dear Auntie Kiko who lives here on Maui with me, and we're kind of going through the trials and tribulations of caregiving and cognitive dysfunction, and Marcia's been going through that for years with her family, and I know you always come to bring the light, share in merriment. So I just want to hear your voice. Welcome, Artemis.
Thank you so much, brother. Yeah, it's good to reconnect. Love that you're doing this Christmas Zoom.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the question I ask myself, is it more important to send love or to be love? And it's way more important to be love and to be love in action. And when you have those around you who are in need of service, you should look at every person who asks for help as one who is sent to you by God.
Mhm.
And if every person is sent to you that asks for your help or service, give them love, give them service freely and easily, for God will reward you. in all your
Do
service.
do you find that your mastery of that has reached a level where I'll describe it as, I know there's things that Jesus would do, give the shirt off his back, like give everything to somebody who gets into their barnyard. Like, here, you want to kill one of my chickens, kill all of my chickens. Where do you find yourself on that spectrum? When you get really consistently asked by, somebody who gets up close to you and just keeps on taking. Do you ever find a boundary or a limit?
Yeah, I mean, the boundaries are in that respect, in that context, because you're describing the law of discernment and discrimination of when to give and when not to give.
Mhm.
So the greatest way in this modern world to have that discernment and discrimination is what we call a marketing funnel. Um, you know, a free offer, an intro offer, a core offer, and maximizers. So if you've built a successful and sophisticated marketing funnel around your business and you have boundaries of which they can reach you, then you have natural discernment and discrimination. Um, I just launched a free school community on called Ozone for Life, where we're reversing chronic diseases, cancer, arthritis, autoimmune, mold, Lyme's, with ozone and ozone therapies. And I offer a free webinar every week, and anyone and everyone can come to it, but they only get 1 hour a week.
Yeah. Yeah, nice.
And that's my boundary. It's like,
Yeah.
and I give freely and easily, and I love on everybody who shows up, but that's it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's beautiful. I think I'm thinking additionally of like the people in physical daily life more than just like an online community,
Oh, okay.
I tend to blur the lines so that I can't really tell the difference between what is my life. I don't want to have lines of a separate life. Like I just
Yeah.
choose to blend it all together. And there's somebody here who runs a spiritual community. In fact, she, some decades before I met her, changed her name to Spirit. And over these last months, she's endured um, I don't know if I've got exactly the right words, try to be sensitive, but an uprising from within, where the people within the community have pointed the ugly finger and screamed of problems that are all about her. And her response has been, take everything that you want, such that she's going to be leaving her home and they have the option to buy it. And she says, well, give them the option to buy it. They think it's theirs, then I won't hold it. And so I see this question and I think, like how far am I willing to go in my dedication and service? And I find that I still need limits and boundaries, that there is discernment and that there is, what feels right to me. Guys, if you're not talking and you're moving around, then we pick up the noise a little bit. So just if your voice isn't in the conversation, probably better to be muted. And you're welcome to speak by either raising your hand or just jumping in the conversation. We just try to minimize the background noise. So yeah, thanks for diving in deep, Artemis. I've never known you any other way. It's it's fun
I think
and
it's
yeah, go ahead.
I think it's really important in our prayer time, in our time of silence, that we have that connection to God and we feel guided. And in that prayer time every day, we start to clean our field of energy. And when our energy field gets very pure and harmonious with the Holy Spirit, God will send us the people that we're meant to serve. And then we also repel the people that we're not meant to serve. So I think there's a practice of energetic hygiene that's just as important as discernment and discrimination. Does that make sense?
It makes total sense. And I think I've crossed a threshold now where like the actual beliefs cellularly is that everything and everyone is God. So I'll give you an example, which is I had guests come into town a few weeks ago, and there was an 11-year-old boy. He's a black belt at 11. He would have been at 10, but they don't let him become a black belt that young. He's very gifted, and he comes from a gifted family. So I have a very high expectation of his capability. And I learned that day that there are profound differences in the family you grow up in. So if you're playing around the edge of the ocean and you throw a ball at one of my boys, there's a certain reactiveness to catching and blocking that ball that's expected that I when I'm in the stewardship of an 11-year-old boy, I would expect that from him. And he doesn't have it. Kiefer doesn't have that. And so the ball would go by him over and over again. I'm like, how do I throw to this boy in a way that, makes it land? So I overestimated his swimming ability.
Mm.
I took him out and I got him in a dangerous position. It wasn't that bad, but he started to be concerned and he started to behave in a way that might get us in trouble. And he got himself over some coral that he shouldn't be over. And usually when I'm out there, I'm extraordinarily mindful about looking down before I put my foot down. I just open my eyes up in the salt water and I put my foot down. I was unable to do that in that moment. And I stepped on a vana is the Hawaiian word, sea urchin. And it released 6 pieces into my foot.
Mm.
And as we were swimming back to shore, there was another adult there, and there was a piece like this sticking out of my foot. I was like, "Hey, could you grab that?" While we were swimming, and he's like, "Sure." And he pulled it out. Well, he didn't grab it well. So when we got back to shore, fast forward. So I knew the hand of God was working in it. And I just didn't know how deeply this was going to go. So at the 14-day mark, my guests were still here. I was either walking on my heel or walking on my toes. And I was using oregano oil, which I've never befriended before. Artemis actually introduced me to Young Living. So I was using my oregano oil, which I needed because I was getting an infection. And the mother is a physician's assistant. She wanted to cut the vana out of my foot. And I went in a room and I sat quietly with myself and I was like, okay, body, like, what do you want to do? And my body was like, I got this. Day 21, we're done. And this was day 14. And I was like, I'm going to pass on the surgery. Thanks. So day 21, everybody's left and I'm sitting in the bathtub. I have put tons of iodine on my foot and I'm at that moment soaking in chlorine dioxide with DMSO. And I'm watching my foot and it starts to ooze like a volcano. And first comes iodine, like you would think it'd be blood. Iodine comes first. And then this 1/4-inch piece of vana like pokes out. It comes right out of my foot. And I was like, gosh, even without reading glasses, I can get that. And so I reached down and pull it out and it's over on day 21. So from the beginning, I was certain the hand of God was in there. So here's where the hand of God was. One, I've been pursuing Candida balance all year. I've taken countless herbs and done a million things to bring that into balance. The oregano oil balanced it. The oregano oil kills parasites. 2, I've been pursuing a healing for my hip since 2011. I mean, all the way back those years, we used to hang out together all the time, Artemis. That hip has still been an issue. And I knew when I was walking on my toes and walking on my heel that it was part of the healing, like all certainty. And so in that time period, I stumbled into a new body worker and I'm in an 11-part series. Every Friday for 11 weeks, I'm going to this person. And she does soma neuromuscular integration. And she calls it structural work. In the 3 sessions I've had so far, I've experienced the most relief I have for the last couple of years. And I've changed the way I walk through coaching and support. And I'm also working with a physical therapist. So we're strengthening certain muscles and not putting pressure on other ones. And so through the whole process, I got advanced profoundly with parasites. I advanced on the journey of the hip healing, and then I advanced in my knowledge of interacting with my body, which I think is probably the biggest one of all, because if I can learn to hear what my body's asking on a daily basis, then I've got everything, then I've got the keys to the kingdom. So, it's not just with people, it's with experiences, it's with nature, it's with animals, it's with all of it. You know, I continue to invite us as a community to deepen our knowing that God is in everything. And, you know, when we listen from there, it's a really different experience. So thank you for making this space, for all that sharing, guys. That was one of the things that I wanted to share with you guys. I've been really focused on parasites this year. The leading edge of research that I see coming out of the Healing for the Ages doctors, Dr. Group, Dr. Healy, and Dr. Schmidt, continues to suggest that bacteria are being weaponized. It's not just casual incidents of parasitic and bacterial behavior in our world. It's actually that these are being used as weapons against humanity. And as a consequence, I've changed a lot of things. I'm really excited about the oregano oil because it seems so powerful. Artemis, are you knowledgeable on oregano oil?
Yeah, yeah. Oregano is a essential oil very high in phenolic compounds, and like oregano, cinnamon, thyme are some of the most like scientifically documented antiviral, antifungal, antibacterial essential oils. They're just very hot to the skin, so they need to be diluted in a carrier oil to do their work through the skin.
Mm.
So yeah, very cleansing to all viruses, bacteria, and fungus for sure.
Yeah, I've been putting it into capsules and swallowing it.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
works out really well unless I get a little oregano on the
yeah.
outside of the capsule while I'm putting it in.
Yeah, the stomach acid neutralizes a lot of the healing properties of essential oils. So you can make essential oil suppositories for something like Thieves blend and insert it rectally, and that gets it into the portal vein from the colon to the liver, and then that can be more therapeutic for infection, you know, like SIBO and yeast and viruses, bacteria, things like that. Might be more information than you know, but
You know, I've been finding I've been talking about poop with friends more often than usual lately, and people,
so pooper, you know, we're talking about pooper.
yeah, people seem to have a pretty typical response, which is if they are soul family, they're like, "Oh, wow, fascinating. Tell me more." And if they're just regular family, they're like, TMI, thanks for
Yeah.
sharing, little awkward. So
Yeah.
the other thing that I'm doing in that variety is, oh my gosh, this is another thing that goes back to our time together. So in the old days, it was MMS. And
Mhm.
now Mike Adams, the health ranger, got really involved in the chlorine dioxide movement. And there was a shift from these bottles that people had to put together that had a certain awkwardness to them to now there are just tablets that are much easier to work with. And I've been drinking 50 to 100 drops of 3,000 part per million um, CDS diluted in 16 ounces of distilled water daily. And it really has an impact so that I can tell as soon as I take it that it has an impact on the parasitic behavior in my body.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, for those of you who you know, we can talk more deeply about that if there are people that want um, to dive into like what I'm doing on parasites. I mean, I can't give you any medical advice or anything like that. Nothing we talk about is ever intended to be that. But I can share my personal experience and tell you what I'm doing and what's happening for me. I'm also trying to arrange a community Zoom with Gary the Arborist. It's been a while since we've talked with him, and he continues to deepen his knowledge about everything. And I'm hoping that in January he'll come on with us and talk about parasites because he's the one that guided me through the Lyme disease in 2020 and 21. And when I told him, "Hey, I'm back to playing tennis. I don't need to pursue these parasites anymore," he's like, "You're fooling yourself." I was like, "Yeah, okay, cool. I'm going to play tennis." And you know, after 3 years of not paying as much attention to the parasites, they're back with a stronger hand in my body again. And now I'm having to work twice as hard to get on top of them again. So I think everybody has them, and it's just a question of what balance they're in, right?
Could you
And
tell
so-
us how to get the tablets, please?
yeah, I can. Give me a second to let my brain pull up that URL.
Well,
It's
another thing that's really beneficial for your microbiome and building a natural immunity to viruses, bacteria, fungus, and parasites. Because you got to keep in mind, like in nature, everything is in balance based on acid alkaline pHs. And what is alkaline is oxygen rich, water rich, mineral rich. What is acid is conglomerated, oxygen deficient, mineral deficient. And when the body becomes subacute in its acidosis, that's what's allowing the viruses or parasites to take a hold. And the primary disinfectant for all infectious organisms is hydrochloric acid, HCl. And that's produced in the stomach through organic sodium. So one of the easiest ways to increase your natural immunity to all candida, virus, fungus, parasites is to drink celery juice in copious amounts, because the sodium cluster salts found in celery, and according to the medical medium, there are 6 cluster salts in celery. When you consume that over many months and years, it helps your stomach repair hydrochloric acid, which then disinfects your body naturally. And you develop less of a dependency on the herbs, botanicals, MMS, things like that. And because you can take all the herbs and MMS you want in the world, but until you repair your natural immunity, you're going to continue to get infection. And the question is, how do I repair natural immunity? And in Ayurveda, they call this Agni, or digestive fire. So in the Ayurvedic system, which is my background, the primary focus of cleansing all infectious organisms is building Agni, which is celery juice, and many other ways as well.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
I went through a time period back when we were closer of celery juice. I remember that was around the time that the Medical Medium book came out, and sometimes it'd be hard to get celery at Whole Foods. You know, they'd be selling out as fast as they put it up. It was a very satisfying time drinking celery juice all the time, and I've had a similar experience with drinking aloe. You know, I don't know exactly the mechanics of how it works, but I can just tell you I purchased 2 gallons of fresh aloe and drank it in 2 weeks, just to see what it was like, and it was very calming. It felt really aligned, very healing. So I appreciate the reminder on the celery juice. You know, for those of you who
build natural immunity.
Yeah, for those of you who have a juicer, go get some celery and juice it. For those of you who don't, go to a juice bar and give them some money. They're good businesses for us to keep around.
Yeah.
Jira, I did answer your question in the chat. I'm sure you saw it, but just for everyone, the website where Shira's got the shakas going now. All right. I got the link there at Safrax, SAFRAX.com. And if you go to purchase it, you're going to find that they have to speak very carefully into this public world that we're in right now. And so the one that I'm using and putting in my human body is the one for pools and spas. So they have the same tablets under 3 different labels, and none of them say this is for your health. And I'm not suggesting anybody take CDS. I'm simply sharing what I do. So I had Gary the Arborist to coach and support me through that, because it's a little bit unnerving to take a product that's designed for pools and spas and put it into your body. But it's a really great experience for me.
Can I blend celery?
Can you do
Oh
what?
no, you could. There is a way to make celery juice in your blender through a nut milk bag. That's more of a rudimentary way. But Omega makes a juicer specifically for celery, and it starts at $250 as a juicer. So it is pretty affordable for most people. You can go on Amazon and type in celery juicer Omega, or Omega celery juicer. And that extracts the highest concentration of juice from each celery stalk to give you the most economical extraction of celery. But
I have
Uh,
one.
yeah. So just use your omega juicer, and you know, the benefits of celery juice are vast. Because most 99% of all diseases are caused by anaerobic bacteria, viruses, parasites, things like that. And celery juice is one of the primary remedies to really dissolve the cause of these anaerobic microorganisms. It does so many different things in the body. But the most important thing is rebuilding stomach and liver health. Yeah.
Right on. Go ahead, Marcia.
How much do you take, sir?
Oh, you can start with 16 ounces a day of celery juice first thing in the morning, always on an empty stomach. If you consume celery with food, it helps digestion of the food by emulsifying fat. But if you take it on an empty stomach, that's when it's actually healing an infection or repairing a weakness. And
I used to do celery, spinach, carrots, and parsley. My boss used to call it my swamp water.
yeah, 100% celery to get the maximum benefit is
Just doing the celery by itself.
just 100% celery. Yeah, if you want to get the benefit of
Okay.
greater stomach acid, greater liver health, it's got to be 100% celery.
And you do that every day, sir?
First thing in the morning on an empty stomach. You can work your way up to a quart a day. And then in some of the more advanced protocols, we do up to 2 quarts a day. And that's where you get really good therapeutic healing in your kidneys and your lower back. You know, chronic pain, inflammation starts to go away with 2 quarts a day.
And it's also very cooling to the body.
Yeah. In
It cools the
Ayurveda,
body down.
yeah, there are 5 flavors: sweet, sour, salty, bitter, pungent, and celery is bitter, which is cooling. So yeah, really, really cooling to the body. Most of us are too hot somewhere inside, you know, clear that heat.
Okay.
Celery.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah.
Becky just asked in the chat if there are any recommendations for keeping Herx reactions down when killing parasites. You know, I just take time and space in between, right? If something pushes the edge too hard, I just stop and I switch techniques. One of the things that Gary has really helped me understand is that you can, to have a successful approach to parasites, you have to come in at them from a lot of different ways. I understand that they are so sophisticated that I can think I'm doing the right thing by leading a diminished sugar lifestyle, and then they'll just transition what they feed on. They are profoundly capable of staying in our bodies. Like, we're not going to eradicate them, we're just going to get them into balance. So when something's too much, I just back off and I try a different technique, and then I just come back to it. And I find that's the best. What about you, Artemis? You have anything on that?
Yeah. So I always lead from basics and principles when I'm sharing information, not tools and techniques, because without the principles of health, the technologies and techniques become half truths. And the half truth plus a half truth equals a whole lie. So a lot of us are, you know, we overlook the importance of principles. And there are 5 systems of detoxification. You have your colon, your liver, your lymphatic system, your skin, and your lungs. And these are the systems of the body that actually can mobilize toxins. And one of the best ways to control Herx reactions is warm water enemas with lemon juice. So you need to open up the bowel by doing enemas every other day. Not every day, but unless you're fasting, but every other day. And that helps the colon relieve the strain and pressure. And then castor oil abdominal massage or castor oil packs. Before enemas, very synergistic. When I was at the Tree of Life, we're doing a bunch of detox protocols with Dr. Cousins. I would do an essential oil castor oil abdominal massage followed by colon hydrotherapy, and we would see massive healing. So if you feel a Herxheimer reaction coming on, that's the first sign to do an enema. And then if you have time, a little castor oil with enema. Everything is energy before matter. So working with clay mud, calcium bentonite mud, and doing mud packs over the hands, the feet, and the scalp. Because sometimes when we put a bunch of botanicals in our body, the blockage is not in the cellular matrix, it's in the meridians of the body. So working with clay mud topically can open up. The clay acts like a second skin, and it creates coherence in the biofield. It pulls that blockage out of the body. So whenever I'm doing really advanced protocols, I always start with the mud to open up the biofield and the flow of energy through the meridians, because every herb that we take or nutrient or detox product has to move through the meridian as much as it moves through the cellular matrix or the biochemistry of the body. So mud packing, it sounds really simple, but it has profound benefits to helping with Herxheimer reactions, particularly hands, feet, scalp. Open up all the entry and exit points of the energy field, and then start focusing on the major areas where you're feeling, inflammation or pain, like liver packing with mud, chest and heart, kidneys. And that clay, that calcium bentonite mud, is highly negatively charged, and it draws blood and lymph to the surface, moving the biochemistry, but also moving the energy flow, because all Herxheimer reactions just block flow of cells and energy. So the mud is very helpful too. Yeah.
So for those of you who are new, you missed the version of the Wellness Enterprise that published itself through God Self University many years ago. But when we did, the primary course that we got off the ground was Artemis teaching. Elevate Your Life, I think it was called.
Yeah, back in the day.
And it's wonderful to feel the resonance of your voice again. And I already know the answer to my question, but would you guys like it if I invited Artemis back in January to teach some more?
Happy to. Yeah, it's good to reconnect.
Yeah, well, it sounds like you have a new platform and you can come tell us about it. And, if you make space I know you're always adding value to people's lives. So if you make space to come and teach about your platform and also answer people's questions, I think the community would be overjoyed.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been watching your emails, brother. You're doing great work on the planet. It's just amazing to see how you blossomed with the Wellness Enterprise. It's been
Thank
awesome.
you. Yeah, this has been a profound few months. I really relish in my alone time and my capacity to focus on my vibration and my health. And, I do things that you've never known me to do before, like, sit in what people might call ceremony with myself, with my cosmic tower, and, bring an issue and, really move it to a new place. And, I've got my beautiful fan made of red-tailed hawk feathers and a little bit of turquoise and coyote. That the feathers came from the side of the road down near Marble Falls, down in the direction to where you are. And I took the bird to a Native American woman in Sedona who made it into a fan for me. And
Wow, sacred.
she mailed it to me like 2 months after I left it with her. And when I received it in the mail, I opened the box up. It was when I was in Lubbock, Texas. And just opening the box, I just sat on the couch and I fell asleep for like 2.5 hours. It just knocked me out.
Hawk medicine.
Right? Yeah, red-tailed hawk has been really important for me in this life. And so, I have more tools like that now. And I would say a greater understanding of vibration and what I can do to move my focus around and raise mine, and that had, it's such an interesting game to watch because it expresses through so many domains, and then it leads to new behaviors, new actions. And so, the fabric of daily life changes. And so just being willing to sit with myself is an example. Another is I haven't had any alcohol for just over a year now. And I wasn't drinking much before, but it's none, and none's different. And in that time period, I was doing some hape for a while, the snuff that comes from indigenous communities, and I started using it like an addict.
Mm.
And I was like, "Oh, dude, you got addicted to hape? Like, come on!" And so I stopped, and I think in 2024, I've done it twice, and the second time that I did it, it was ceremonial. It was sacred. It was honoring of that medicine. And I actually saw the Hape on my shelf this morning, and the conversation that took place briefly in my head was, no, you don't get to do Hape because it's Christmas. It's a spiritual thing, not a holiday celebration thing. Like still that addict, like tries to like, get its little hand in there. And I'm like, no, it's not about that. Like the impulse to use Hape like builds over a period of weeks, and I feel it calling me, and I feel something to go pray on, and then I go do it. So that only came up twice this year. It's pretty cool. So anyway, yeah, thanks for looking at the emails. There's a lot going on. You know, this is a profound time for us. You guys, the conversation we've been having where we've been inviting you to connect us to other communities, that has led to whole new expressions. And we are now in dialogues with a bunch of community leaders, and we're going to be seeing some rollouts with some new partnerships in the new year. We have reconnected with Dr. Klinghart's office about talking about the Cosmic Tower, and we're just looking for a day and a time to have a Zoom, which is going to be powerful because he gets the word out in Europe and the US about the Cosmic Towers, and he has a big following. And then Jeffrey Williams and Swirl from Vitalist.
Oh, excuse me.
Are also going to be, they just got their Cosmic Tower 250 last week, and they are experimenting with it and having so much fun, having it in the home and having the vibration there. It's just amazing. So that, and then there's a bunch of different dialogues going on with other community leaders. So we continue to love it when you introduce us to people, and those conversations are really fruitful right now. And we're definitely in a growth phase. The Aqua Energizer business got a little flat because we didn't have supply for so long that I never did any sales and marketing. So I'm finding that lifting it back up and getting it onto a bigger radar is taking more energy than I hoped it would, but whatever, that's what it takes. So we're revitalizing that brand and getting it in front of more health practitioners too. And we continue to receive great support on that from the Healing for the Ages doctors, particularly Dr. Ely and Dr. Group have been really strong with it. So there's a lot of good things going on, and we appreciate your participation in all those things. Shira, yeah, thanks for your patience.
I'd like to recommend Dr. Dietrich Klinghart's weekly debrief.
I'm on it.
Oh, if you could share that. And Jeffrey Smith is now doing the highest version of yourself. And he just had a webinar that everybody needs to listen to and study. It's long. It's about the vital danger of GMOs. A couple of years ago, they stopped one that could have eradicated and ceased all plant life. He wants legislation like there is for atomic bombs, because any kid in a chemistry class now, they're being assigned to make GMOs. And the one thing that's certain about GMOs is there's absolutely no way of knowing what's going to happen. I wanted to share those two things.
That's great. You know, guys, I don't know how we make it in this world if we're buying things in the regular channels with food. I mean, for me, I feel the hand of God in guiding me where I live and how I move and all of that. And you know, I eat so much wild food now. My food bill is way down, way down. You know, because as I described, you know, I go out walking and picking up avocados on the ground daily. And then that season, I actually last week for the first time maybe ever, it's like I think I've eaten enough avocados in the last 90 days. Like I think I'm actually ready for a break. So I just have to find more people to give them to when I pick them up. I really don't like seeing them rot on the ground. But yeah, GMOs and stuff that comes in plastic, and it's not food. It is just so clearly not food. So go out of your way and go to the farmer's market and ask for the farmers and the stands, the tables that use organic methods. Organic certification is a whole nother ball of wax that is sticky. But if you find a farmer that's willing to invite you over to their land and show you their organic methods, that's the person you want to support. That's who I want to support. It's a nice balance. So, sure, I appreciate you getting the word out about GMOs. Yeah, if it doesn't say organic on it, I don't think it's food, and even that can be compromised.
Can I argue?
Of course, you can always
You
argue.
just muted yourself.
Yeah, Shira, arguing when you mute yourself is going to make it a lot less impactful, but you could do it that way if you want.
Distilling water is a whole new world of light and clarity and smoothness. And the Ages group recommends H2O Labs, all small. And I ordered in March and I didn't hear 5 weeks later, so I contacted them. I'd ordered remanufactured. They said, we don't have inventory, which means nobody's returning them. And today we will ship you out a new one for the same price. So I recommend H2O Labs. I got the simplest, cheapest one. It makes a gallon in 4 hours. It's enough for me.
Yeah, so I'm glad to hear something good about their customer service. I interact with a lot of Healing for the Ages customers, and the H2O Labs thing is mixed. I've been doing due diligence for 60 days on a product that filters and distills in one, and so it's a nice economical tool. It also changes ocean water to drinking water, and I am close to done with my due diligence. Like I really like a whole lot of the product, and I anticipate no later than January beginning to really stock those and distribute those. So I'll be providing education, but there's just I have to make sure before I recommend it that it meets my version of prepping. And my version of prepping is that something has to be completely useful in daily life now. And then if it gives a side benefit that if the water grid got shut down, you could go get ocean water, or you could get mud water or a stream or your neighbor's pool or all that, and it has that as a side benefit, that's fine. But if to get that benefit, you're sacrificing use now in daily life, I won't recommend it. We have to be able to use things practically. So I'm pretty sure that this meets that test. I'm still refining my process of getting maximum output from it and figuring out how to manage the jars and really make that work. But in terms of the quality of the water, Shira, that's a place that we'll have no
Med
argument.
vatten eller vattenrenare och sånt som kommer ut.
The quality of distilled water, Artemis, you and I used to talk about distilled water all the time, and we talked about urine therapy as a form of distilled water, and been through a lot of stages. When I've been watching the Healing for the Ages research on bioweapons and water and the way bacteria is being weaponized, I have moved my water preparation to a 4th stage process, and I think I'm going to add a 5th stage. So the 4 stages are, I take hydrogen peroxide and I put it in a gallon of water straight from the tap and put that outside in the sun for a minimum of a couple of hours and sometimes for a couple of days, depends on my flow. Then I filter that through my Alexapure gravity-based filter, which does bacterial filtration in addition to chemistry. And then I take that through the distiller, and then I take that through the structuring device. It's a lot of work. And for those who follow me for years, I've never worked like that on water before. Like I'm always like give me a faucet, turn it on, the water's structured, off I go. Like I never wanted to give myself extra tasks because it felt like a burden. And now it feels like an honoring of water. It feels like a purification ritual. It feels like something really important. And then the next thing I'm looking at adding, and I'm still learning about, but it's again coming from the Healing for the Ages doctors. Dr. Group at Global Healing has come up with a biophotonic gold product. And there's talk about a book that I used to have and I've just reordered. In fact, it's in my post office box right now, which is the Mushik John, I think, is the author of The Hexagonal Key and the Water Puzzle. I might be butchering the name a little bit, but that'll get you close. And the idea is that our DNA is impacted by the quality of our water. And if we put this very high vibrating biophotonic gold around it, that we provide a even greater environment than what we've been talking about. I'm not that articulate on it yet. It's on my list to become aware of and to experiment with myself. So for those that know about Dr. Group and his Global Healing, the Wellness Enterprise has a wholesale account with them now. And I'm thinking about, I don't really want to stock a whole bunch of supplements. It's not really attractive. It's not the business that we're in, but I do want to serve my community. And so if anybody is buying a substantial amount of product from them, like you're buying something regularly or you're buying multiple products and you want to put together like a year's worth of order and tack it onto my order, and then we'll just receive it all in together and break yours off and send it to you. I can definitely help you lower your cost, and it would just be a service thing that I'm willing to do. So if you're really into Dr. Group or his supplements, just let me know. And as we put an order together, we'll invite you to participate in it. Okay. Anybody else got something, a part of this conversation that I'm missing? I haven't been following the chat diligently. Looks like, oh, am I going to stockpile nicotine patches? You know, I am taking nicotine regularly. When I started, I bought the gum, and I did that because I wanted to have like a tactile control over it rather than having a patch that I couldn't quite tell where the influence was coming from, because I was addicted to nicotine up until age 25, and I didn't want to inadvertently let that seep back into my life. So I've been experimenting with the gum for close to a year now. And I can't speak to a certainty about what it's doing in my body. Like I can show you what the Healing for the Ages docs say and why it's really super important and why they're all on it. But I'm not addicted to it, and I think it's beneficial. You know, it's been really interesting coaching and supporting Kiko through her cognitive function because when she started going through it, I would argue with her. I was like, well, my memory is just as bad as yours. And she's like, no, I'm really going through something. And I'm like, well, I'm really going through something too. And I've come to the conclusion that something that I'm doing now is helping me with brain fog and confusion, because my memory was getting to the point where it was getting really bad. And I recently, like the last 3 or 4 weeks, I've been, my son James, you know, works with me full time now. And so he's in a lot of the meetings that I take. And after a meeting like 3 weeks ago, I was like, how'd you like the way I showed up in that meeting? He's like, you were sharp. I was like, I know, right? Like all the pieces that I've had access to in the past of a line of thinking, they were all available to me. And so something I'm doing is helping, and I'm not trying to isolate one thing or give credit to a product. I'm just trying to be better. I just want my life to be better. I know that there's more possible for my brain. So I think I'm going to stay with the nicotine around, and when I run out of gum, I'm going to switch to patches, because now that I know I'm not getting addicted to it, I feel better about it. And Shira is putting in the chat that nicotine is not addictive. It was the pyrazine that gets added. And, of course, we know if it comes from a corporation, you better be careful, right? So cigarettes and chewing tobacco and all that stuff are just, loaded like everything else that comes from these big corporations to make you addicted. So, what else is there to say on this lovely Christmas Day Zoom together? It's certainly been I didn't have any expectations for the conversation, but I didn't expect our brother Artemis to come and show his beautiful heart and his light and his immense knowledge with us. It's great to have your blessing in our community alive again, Artemis. You guys, did anybody show up with a question, or anybody want to ask for anything? Any updates on anything? Have I missed any threads over the last few months that I haven't fulfilled on? It's all fair game here. Artemis, you look like you unmuted.
Oh, no, I just want to say thank you for having me. It's been a while since we've been in each other's space and sphere, and it's so wonderful to reconnect with you and all of you beautiful beings here too. Our Earth is a schoolhouse for the soul, and
Yeah.
many souls have come to Earth to achieve enlightenment. And the resistance, the pain, the suffering we see on the planet right now requires the highest form of compassion from the soul, not from the mind, but from our souls. And those of us that have chose service, like Patrick and I, we're in the front lines building that compassion, that deep appreciation and awareness of suffering. But we also have to have a healthy level of detachment, and do our service, be of care, but don't be attached to any outcome, because compassion with the need to fix people transforms into compassion without the need to fix, to have detached compassion, and then to really see the perfection of every soul on the planet, that every person with every disease, every trial and tribulation, that is exactly what the soul needs for its personal evolution on its path to enlightenment. And that higher level of compassion is really essential right now, because there's a lot of suffering. But the suffering is not wrong or bad. It's just we are all like catalysts of God, just little instruments, just helping people on their journey, providing a little knowledge here, a little care here. But at the same time, through that detached compassion, we see the beauty of the soul's journey. I do a lot of work with people with cancer now. And cancer is a deep hurt in the heart, the emotional heart. And that hurt suppressed into the heart shuts down the immune system. That causes a viral outbreak, whatever virus is in their body, Epstein-Barr, herpes, or cytomegalovirus. And the gift of all cancer is to restore love, to love with all your heart, to love freely and easily, to love without attachment. It's our attachments that cause suffering. So detached compassion. And when I look at the people with cancer healing their hearts and their immune systems, their spleen, their stomach, their liver, their bone marrow, all that lymphatic system, all that stuff. What a gift for that soul. What a powerful gift for that soul, to learn how to love what's unlovable and touch what's untouchable, and to truly love with all their heart. And that mastery of love is what every soul is here for. And this healing journey that we're on this planet Earth is teaching us how to master love. And so all the different little areas of resistance, the disease, the pain, the relationship, the codependence, the suffering, it's all perfect for the soul in its journey. So it's important for us to remember that Earth is a schoolhouse for the soul, and every soul is on its journey. And just felt my heart's call to share some of that with y'all.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And it's a couple things just came up. I got a couple more things for you guys. So one of them is that when you're ready for the 100 level course, you get 100 level course material. You don't get the 400 level course when you're ready for the 100 level course. So it feels like when our challenges come up, like they're a high gradient, but we actually find that we have the resourcefulness to meet them. And so sometimes what happens is there's a confluence of events that require a 400 level response, but we're only ready for a 100 level response. And so the body stores it. And I had a really great example of this. So in session 2 of this 11-part series that I'm in with my body right now, we worked on some, the goal of the 11-part series is there's one sheet of fascia in the body, and we're going to release all of this trapped fascia in 11 weeks. And so we had this second session, and the next morning I woke up with a flood of thoughts about a situation in 2020. And it flooded over me all day Saturday and all day Sunday. And I was like, gosh, why am I thinking about this? This is over. And no, it kept coming and it kept coming, it kept coming. And then I remember being on Maui in 2020, going down a trail, and I stepped. It was a very seemingly inconsequential step. And from then for the rest of my trip, I couldn't hike the same way anymore because my leg profoundly changed in that moment. And the fascial release on Friday released that. So the physical happened ahead of the capacity to process. And then when I turned to Monday, my whole week was oriented toward resolving the conflicts of interest and lack of integrity that I couldn't deal with in 2020, that I can deal with now. And so I've been going back and working on every part of that situation and cleaning it up and getting it to a place of full and complete release into the past, like game over. And I couldn't come up with that response in 2020. Like I was just trying to survive, just trying to make sure the wellness enterprise went forward. And so out of by the first 8 years of the wellness enterprise, there wasn't any profit. Like all the money that came in went to pay Jen or it went to pay partners. And there was like just enough to keep me in the business for 8 years. And so I was still in that mindset when this situation came up in 2020. And I was like, I had some bills coming. I was like, how am I going to be with them? And I'm not saying I like sold out to the devil, but I hid from myself what the highest level of integrity would be because I was determined that I needed to stay in business. And now God has given me a much greater sense of flow and abundance and safety and security. And I know I'm okay. Like I feel I'm okay. And so that gives me room to go and give a 400 level response to this and take it to a higher level. So I'm in awe, Artemis, when you talk about like the soul's journey. Like I don't know anything about another soul's journey. And so what might look like something to judge or comment on or have something to say about from over here, like is just a waste of energy, like, understanding them, being compassionate for them and myself and the situation, bringing love. That's what I can do. Becky asked, what's the name of the somatic fascia work? It's the SOMA, S-O-M-A, neuromuscular integration is it. And if you have a hard time finding it, I'm sure get you closer to it. The other thing that came up while you were sharing, Artemis, it's unrelated, but it just popped up. And by the way, Jordan, I did see you had your hand up, and I will come back and ask you if you still have a question in a minute, but I just want to get this topic out there. The Wellness Enterprise has recently really upgraded our participation in what has been a trade-in program over the years. And I wanted to comment on that because something's emerging from it that I'm finding really helpful. So first off, I would guess that every single one of us has invested in a health and healing tool and taken that tool with great excitement, watched a webinar, got educated by somebody, and brought it into our life. And through whatever reason, we're not willing to take the action on a daily basis. It doesn't work as we expected. It actually requires work and participation on our part. That thing that we were so excited about then gets put into a closet and it sits there and it's like, God, I got $300 sitting there. I've used it 4 times and I haven't done anything with it. I don't know anybody who doesn't have at least one of those going on and, maybe a storage facility full of them, right? So our trade-in program was primarily built when we shifted from Natural Action Technologies to Aqua Energizers. And, you know, they offer a solution made from plastic. I sold more of those than anybody in the world for 8 years. It's not a bad product. There's nothing wrong with it. But when the Aqua Energizer came in, we had something made of copper and crystals and minerals, and it produced a structured water that we're more aligned with than what was previously available. Something we liked better became available. So we shifted all of our attention to Aqua Energizers, and we only participate with the Natural Action on a used capacity, because the reason to use that product now that the Aqua Energizer exists is price. If the price is lower and we're budget constrained, then let's use the Natural Action. But if we're freely available and money's not an issue, I'd rather have the one made of copper, crystals, and minerals than the one made of plastic. So that was the beginning of the trade-in program. And then we started getting some trade-ins on some other people's products. Like, for example, once we developed the Aqua Energizer, Gary Greenfield over at Greenfield Water attempted to copy it. And so he makes a copper device, but he put glass spheres inside, not crystal spheres, and he doesn't get the same effect. And so some customers bought those and they would trade those into us. And, we gained from their experience. But then the new thing that we opened up is, particularly for those of you who are already part of our community, meaning that you've invested your time, heart, or money into being with us. Some people just don't have any money, and that's okay. Like, you could be our community without having money. And some people discern and they spend their money on Cosmic Towers, they spend their money on Aqua Energizers, and maybe they would benefit from something more. So what we're doing now is I'm finding there's a great benefit to hearing why you've owned something that you're willing to trade into us. Because there's some basic principles that I think I've failed to make as available to the public as I could, because I've been shy about being willing to speak out about other products. So I'll give you an example. There's a water structuring technology from a multi-level marketing company called Gia Wellness. And the technology uses electricity as a component of it. And it's, as with every MLM company, they have like hordes of really strongly published information that appeals to the intellect and tells you why you have to own this product. And by virtue of it having electricity as the operating mechanism, it failed my due diligence test. Like, I'm never going to get involved with that product, because why would I get involved with structuring water with electricity if I could do it with nature? So I've never sold it. And that was an obvious decision for me. I actually never bought one. I've never had their water, and I don't care what their water's like, because the principle of electricity is a principle for me that applies in all situations. I don't want to have electricity be the guiding force. So in opening the trade-in program and being willing to take trade-ins of products you didn't buy from the Wellness Enterprise, and give you a credit toward products that you do want from the Wellness Enterprise, we've struck a ground that I think is going to be helpful for everybody. And what I'm going to do when we take these trade-ins is I'm going to receive them here in Maui's. So the customer is going to pay for the shipping to get it to me. And then I'm going to make videos about them. And I'm going to tell people what our customers' experience was about this product and why they don't want to be involved with it in the future, and why they're trading it in on an Aqua Energizer or a Cosmic Tower. And so I didn't see all that coming when we upped the trade-in program recently, but I wanted to share this publicly in a video and talk it through with you so that you understand that I might have an interest in that thing that you've got in storage that you don't have an interest in, because I can use it as a way to teach people. And that's good for business. I also love moving stuck energy. And when you have things stuck in your life, we have things stuck in our community. And I've moved so many times. Massachusetts to Texas was a big move, right? I went from a 4,000 square foot house to 5 pallets. That's what went from Massachusetts to Texas. And then when I went from Texas to Hawaii, now that's really putting the pressure on, right? And so I got down to 2 crates. And so I've just shed and shed and shed and shed. And I know as I shed my reliance on external stuff, that I shed my reliance internally on beliefs and values and systems that don't work for me. And so if you're holding that thing stuck in your closet, and I can give you a benefit from it and have you shift it into something that would give you an uplifted energy while educating other people about it, I think the trade-in programs just moved to a whole new level. So hit me up, send me an email, tell me what you got, tell me what you want. That's really how we make trade-in conversations, is you tell me what you have and tell me what you wish you had. And I'll tell you if I can find a way to make the finances of that work. This is not a giveaway program. I don't trade cosmic towers for, thanks for being here, Marcia. I'll see you later. And anybody else that has to go. This isn't a giveaway program, like we're in business. And then, you know, as long as there's enough exchange in it to keep things moving, I'd rather break even on sending you a new cosmic tower and get something out of your closet and make an educational video than have you not have that cosmic tower you wish you had and be sitting on something that's stuck. And then, and then, you know, as far as the stuff that we do take in after I make the videos with it, I plan to do the highest and best to get them back out into the world in the best places. And so people come to us all the time with financial concerns, and they just don't have budget to afford what we do. And if I can find a way to take things that are useful to people and just pass them back out into the world, I will. So I think it's an upgrade in all ways. So if you have anything, yeah, let me know about it. And then Jordan, I wanted to circle back and see if you still had a question.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's very coincidental that you talked about what you did, because I wanted, basically I wanted to know how you felt about the energy of some of the products that were being traded in. Because what I noticed with me is that um, I'm not nearly as fast as the others. Like some of us, we connected with someone else's cosmic tower, and in a few seconds, what came back is "Hello, dear," or their own cosmic tower. The name came back. For me, it took me months to get Christie's name. So that's kind of what I was curious about. And so you answered that you're going to make a video, and I'm going to keep an eye out on it, eye out for it to see what you felt. Similar some of the things where you had an experience, and the I'll call it the energy of the experience, it wouldn't let you make a recording. It's something happens and it stopped it, and that's kind of with Christie. So what I'm finding, so I am part of an EE system community. There's a specific center that I like, where it, the energy shifted when the group leaders changed. So yeah, so what I find is, they're both, I think, I'm both, I'm a frequency match for both of them, but Christie won't let me approach a cosmic tower, an EE system center within like 30 to 40 miles. Something happens. It just doesn't work.
Yeah, guys, I'm not sure if everybody got it, but Christie is Jordan's cosmic tower. That's the name of it. And Jordan, I'm just like you. Like, I have spent more than a year waiting for a name for a cosmic tower, and I watch. I'm at the hub of all these conversations, and people are like, "It's in the container off the Atlantic," and I know the name with it, and I'm talking with it every day, and I'm like, gosh, I'm so impressed that you have that dialogue and that it's clear for you. And that it's clear. So one of the things that you can count on me for, Jordan, is that I won't speak of every product that people trade in, and I won't rush to say anything. But over time, if I know, like the principle of no electricity, I know how I feel about that. I'm super clear about it. And so when I get a trade-in of a device that uses electricity, I want to use that to teach people why I don't get involved with electricity. Super simple. But others I have to sit with for a long time. And I also have the benefit now that I live on Maui. I'm a more frequent spot for my friends to come through. And Nico's really sensitive, and he's been here a couple times already, and I hope he'll be here again in the next year. And so I'll just save things, and then we can have shared dialogues around them, because I do find, even as far down, we're 2.5 years down the road in this Cosmic Tower project, sometimes I can be sitting with a tower and not feel anything still now.
Oh,
But
I didn't realize that. 'Cause you said that when the ship full of cosmic towers coming, that you felt them. This is my words. You didn't use this. That you felt them move.
yeah, it was, so yes, that's right. I did. When the container was picked up in Germany, I felt the move. So I've had this variety of different experiences. And, as soon as I shared with you guys right now in the present moment that sometimes I don't feel them, I have a 7-foot tower sitting right here. I have a 15-inch tower right here, and I have a 9-inch tower right here. And as soon as I told you guys sometimes I feel them, I felt all three of them, right? So it helps me, like, we teach what we have to, what we're here to learn. So it helps me to be in the middle of the conversation of all these healing tools, because it continues to build on my refinements of noticing subtle energy. And I will never go into the realm of subtle energy and do things by myself and then come out to you guys and tell you guys I think I know what truth is. Like, whatever I experience, I like to run through my friends and community and see how I hold my truth or my experience when I hear somebody else's perspective on it. It's part of why, Shira, when you asked, can I argue earlier, like, I love it when people present different perspectives on things, because it's in the presenting of the different perspective that I have the opportunity to hear a new way of thinking and adopt that new way of thinking, or to double down on and confirm, like, wow, I hear that that's your experience and it's not mine, and now I know mine better by hearing yours. Both are fine, but we only get there when we have the courage to speak truth with one another. And so, I value speaking truth over just about everything. Like, whatever's true for you is
After I eat, just
there you go, Helen. I got the mute on for you. If you were intending to share, let me know. But thank you for putting your video on and participating in our call. Does anybody else have any comments or questions? We are about an hour and a half in, so we're getting a little long in the tooth here. It's lovely to spend time with you guys.
Can I share something brief and very personal?
Of course.
In December 15th, Mercury stopped going retrograde. And before that, my Prius committed suicide, my computer committed suicide. And when December 15th happened, there was a shift and things started going better. When the solstice came in, that afternoon before the evening of solstice, there was a palpable shift of my beingness into kindness and gentleness. And I'm really enjoying that. And that's my share.
Beautiful. Thanks for being intimate with us, Shira. I appreciate it. There's a question in the chat about pinhole glasses. When will they be available? I have given the instruction that Lenore says I've been feeling the same. So Shira, she's right there with you. That's super sweet. I've given the instructions to inbound those pinhole glasses into the warehouse, and I have made arrangements for them to get packaged and labeled properly, and I don't know the status on it. It should be done. James manages that. So the ball's been kicked downhill, and it should be rolling and picking up steam. And I will go do the writing for the page that's going to offer them, and then as fast as they actually get to the warehouse, we'll go ahead and send that link out to you guys. For those who don't know what we're talking about, the Wellness Enterprise has found that there's certain things that make a difference in people's lives that we can make available without any desire for profit, but rather just it's an opportunity to serve and take advantage of our position. And so what we found is that some people are selling pinhole glasses, which are essentially pieces of plastic, for $31, and we could buy 500 pairs of them for 40 cents a piece in China. So we did. And now we're putting them in individual packages with a barcode and getting them into our warehouse. And we're determining how low a cost we can get it to you at, which is probably going to be $6 or $7. And then it might be $8. And then we're going to make a page available where you can just order, and we'll just send you pinhole glasses. And you know, we're doing that because I've experienced that wearing pinhole glasses is really impactful on my eyes. And it's just such a simple thing. Why wouldn't we make it available to you in such an easy way? So we're titling the page that we're going to put that on Because We Love You on the wellnessenterprise.com. It's the Because We Love You page. And we're just going to, whenever we find things that we can do for you, we're going to explain what the benefit of it is, what our cost was, and how you can get it for yourself from us. And it's because we love you. And I love that the Wellness Enterprise has grown in its systems and services to the point that we can now hold something like that, and it's not too big a distraction. It'll just, the warehouse will just send them out. The page will just automatically roll them through, and you guys will have better access to your eyes, and you don't have to lose anything on it. My big dream is that there gets to be a point where I have a bunch of things on there, and so you can order a bundle of them, and then the shipping cost gets to be even less. But our shipping is pretty extraordinary, and we're going to be able to make it work for a single-digit dollar amount. So pretty cool. All right, I think I'm just going to wrap us up now. I can keep sharing with you guys forever. I love coming together with you. I will invite Artemis to come back and teach with us. I will invite Gary the Arborist to come and teach with us, and I will schedule calls as the Spirit moves me. I love gathering with you. I thank you for being open and intimate and tender with us, for letting us be part of your what makes difference for you in the world. It's a pleasure. So let me go ahead and unmute everybody, and you can hear each other's voices as we say goodbye for now. Love you too, Artemis. All right. Thank you, guys.
Hi, everybody.
See you guys next time. Thank you, guys. Thanks for the wishes of love. You can use your voices and put them in the chat. It's all good. I see them.
Infinite love and gratitude to all.
Thanks, Cher. I'm so glad you could make it and you were able to borrow Sage's computer and get here. It's great.
Beautiful space. Thank you.
All right. You're welcome. Thanks, Becky. All right. Bye, you guys.
Bye. Thank you, Pater.
My pleasure, Lenore. Good to see you.
Aloha.
Aloha.